What you're watching here is a video that was sent to me by a Battlefield fan called Travis from South Korea. And as you can see, it's pretty obvious that the people he's spectating are cheating like crazy. And he emailed me and said that in BF5, on Asian servers in particular, this happens all of the time, this kind of rage hacking. And it's been going on for a while and it feels like nothing is being done about it. And I think that sucks. Now, recently, I've been hearing a lot about cheating in BF5 on PC. Many players on Reddit, Twitter, forums complaining that there's a wealth of cheaters plaguing the game at the moment. A couple of streamers I know, Stoddy and Daz, who play and stream BF5 a lot of the time, have also been repeatedly followed by cheaters who join their games whilst they're streaming. They then go up against them or join their team, and they go about rage hacking the server like you're seeing here. This essentially means using blatantly obvious cheats such as damage multipliers, aimbots, wall hacks, being able to shoot through walls that you shouldn't be able to shoot through, all with the goal of instantly wiping out loads of players in a matter of seconds. And that usually forces the streamer to stop playing the game completely or switch servers, and that usually results in them being followed again. Now, my personal experience with BF5 on European servers has been pretty good in terms of the times that I know I've come up against blatant cheaters. In the 206 hours that I've played of BF5 so far, I think that I've encountered one person who was blatantly cheating, and they were wiping out our team with a Lewis gun. And when I say blatant cheaters, that's what I mean, when these guys want you to know that they're cheating and they're making it obvious. Alas, not everyone using cheats will want you or the anti-cheat software to find that out. So I may have played against people who are cheating more subtly to gain an advantage. A cheeky toggle of a wall hack here, a dabble in some aim assist there, maybe a radar hack to show all enemies, whatever it might be. And those are the ones that are harder to spot. Generally speaking, most players I think can tell when a player is just good, or whether there's some other third-party software enhancing their play. And when you've got experience in a online shooter, especially from a competitive background, you just get a feeling sometimes if a death felt weird. The time that it took to kill you, the prediction ability of that player, or the percentage of headshot kills. Let's look at an example of this that I experienced in Apex the other day. The way that this Pathfinder killed me, it might look normal to some, but I could instantly tell that it felt weird. And every single shot that that guy fired hit me. And then, of course, I went on to spectate them for a bit, and my suspicions were confirmed. This guy was using an aimbot, as is quite clearly demonstrated here. And this is someone who is blatantly cheating and doesn't care about it. Maybe they're ranking up their friend or doing it just because they enjoy it. Who knows? But for the most part, I think that 99% of my matches in BF5 are clean. And I haven't experienced what I just showed you there, apart from once, as I mentioned earlier. I haven't experienced the kind of consistency that Travis, the guy from South Korea, has showed me in his video. And I've never had an experience of a plague of rampant hackers descending upon me when I'm trying to record videos. However, I don't really stream Battlefield games, so it's harder to track when I'm playing and recording and what server I'm on. People like to mess with streamers, whether that's for attention, their own amusement, whatever, and that brings these blatant cheaters out of the woodwork. On the flip side though, I think a lot of these complaints are coming from regular players, and there's no smoke without fire. Most of the time, I think that the most likely scenario is that the person complaining is wrong, and they're just going up against better players than them. Some people are generally very good at games, and Battlefield is not a difficult game to master, so you can see why an average player with a short fuse might be quick to call someone out for cheating who was repeatedly killing them in any given server. But there must be something to this though, and I've seen more videos like this where they're posted on Reddit, they spectate a player who is doing that blatant so-called rage hacking that we talked about earlier, making it obvious. These cheaters are out there, that's a fact, and sometimes these accounts are like level 50 accounts. They're not new accounts. They just haven't been banned because whatever anti-cheat software is in place is not working and detecting this blatant foul play. And that's where the problem lies. Something isn't working here, and DICE clearly need to step up their anti-cheat game. Rightfully so though, DICE have been coy about how anti-cheat works in BF5. We know that Fair Fight is there in place, and that's a stat-based anti-cheat. Apparently, there are 2 other layers on top of that, but no one knows what they are and they're not talked about. But these blatant, obvious cheaters are slipping through the net and still ruining players' games. So what more could be done about this? Can this be stopped? Honestly, the truth of the matter, and it's a hard one to digest for PC players, is that there's no total solution to stop cheating on PC. Even in casual, non-competitive games like Battlefield, ever since I can remember, cheating has been a problem. And where there are people that want to cheat, there are always people making those programs and software available and generating a ton of cash off them too. It's a big profitable business, especially in the Asian markets. And I think that's maybe why it's worse over there, because the cheats are more frequently updated because people are buying them. So when a developer puts a system in place to combat cheating, there will always be those people that spend their time getting around it. From my experience, you will never eliminate cheating, but the goal, in my opinion, should never really to be eliminate it entirely, because ultimately that's a fool's errand. The goal should be to reduce it as much as humanly possible and make it annoying and difficult to cheat. And you do that by putting in so many hurdles and deterrents in place, by building walls upon walls that cheaters have to scale and money that they have to repeatedly spend if they want to cheat at your game. Battlefield isn't doing any of this at all, and it should. There's a problem here. So let's take a look at some other games that do well. CSGO, for example, in the past has offered matchmaking in which players would need to attach a mobile phone number to their account in order to play. If you get caught cheating, or your account is banned, then that mobile phone number can never be attached to another account. Now, some people will be quick to point out, well, Jack, it's easy to get a new phone number. I can get one in a few seconds. But that's not the point. That's just one roadblock. Also, I would argue that most people who cheat in online games are young teenagers and don't have much access to liquid cash. And they may even have to risk the dreaded "Mom, can I use your credit card" conversation that one more time, or worse, steal it and face the consequences when their parents see that they've purchased a new phone number and Battlefield 5 for the 3rd time on their bank statement. CSGO also had a minimum rank that you would have to reach before you could play matchmaking. And whilst that doesn't make much sense in BF5, it would do wonders in a free-to-play game like Apex. What if you had to reach level 10 or 20? Would that help the cheating in ranked Apex at the moment? I think it would definitely reduce it slightly, as of course anyone who wanted to load up a new account and cheat would have to get themselves to that required level beforehand. Again, some people will just say that that isn't much of a deterrent, and maybe that's so, but again, it's another stage that you have to get past, more time that you've got to spend, and at the end of the day, time is the most valuable thing to any human being. Some games also don't just ban your account if they catch you cheating, they ban your hardware IDs, and this means that if you get a new account, you still wouldn't be able to play because it can detect that you're using the same PC, and it will simply stop you from playing even when on a new account. And to change your hardware ID, I think at least one major component in your PC needs to be updated, and that's not cheap. Imagine if a games company could hardware ban based on, say, your graphics card ID, arguably one of the most expensive parts in a PC. Again, I'm sure that people would be quick to suggest that you can spoof these things and it would be easy to get around. Maybe so, but it is one further barrier, and I've heard of games like Apex and Overwatch where people have been banned, they get a new account, they try to spoof their hardware IDs, and that doesn't matter. So maybe it is possible. Either way, Battlefield would benefit from a system like that massively. With the game being in Origin Access and going on sale on CD reseller websites, you can pick it up quite cheap. But if your hardware is banned and you want to cheat again, well, you've got to pony up for a new motherboard or graphics card. Sorry. I seem to recall a DICE developer on Twitter saying that they do hardware bans for BF5, but I don't know, are they permanent, temporary? Is this always the case? I'm not sure. And one final thing that CSGO has is a trust factor system in place. And that system is a smart system of sorts that tries to match players together that have a similar trust rating. How reputable are you? And it gets this rating through a lot of different methods. One of those is having a phone number attached to your account, like we mentioned, but it also takes into consideration how old your account is, if you got any bans on any game in your Steam library, what other games have you played, the whole 9 yards. If you have a fairly new account with a game ban on a different game, well, your trust factor is of course going to be a lot lower than someone who's got no game bans and a 10-year-old account. They're much less likely to start cheating. But of course, at its core, any game, including BF5, needs the best anti-cheat software possible running on it all of the time, and it needs to be updated regularly. This in itself will never completely eradicate cheating in online games. Like I said before, everything that I've mentioned in this video will not stop it completely. That will never happen, but it's going to make it much harder and more annoying for cheaters to keep repeatedly coming back, and that should always be the main priority. The rest of these options are just adding more and more barriers for cheaters to get through. An interesting concept would be this though: what if all of the different platforms and publishers and game devs came together to combat online cheating? What if when I played a Steam game, if it could know if I had bans on my Origin account or my Uplay account, and it would take all of that information into account in my trust rating. Of course, we can't be over the top here. Some people make mistakes, but the reality is that cheating is a huge industry for some people. They make their living producing and selling various cheats, as I've talked about. Why do people do it? Well, I think some do it because they want to be better at a game and want an advantage over others. But when you see some players aimbotting to such a degree that they're barely playing the games themselves, you have to ask, what is even the point? The reality is that some people do it because they think it's funny or entertaining, or to ruin other people's games. Maybe they want to get a better rank and just show off to their friends. That's just the way people get their kicks, I guess. CSGO is one of the biggest FPS games around, and it's always had a problem dealing with cheaters. But it did have an Overwatch system designed to aid in catching players out, and players do get caught, but often a lot slip through the net as well, just like they are in Battlefield 5. So what can you do about it at the moment in BF5? Well, there is a report function. How often this gets looked into and checked, and does it work? I don't know, but if you see someone blatantly rage hacking, report them. Something might happen. The point is though that a player should have to report another player as little as possible, and way more could definitely be done here in BF5 to stop people doing this blatant kind of cheating and continuing to use old accounts. And I do believe though that a more personal touch is required at times too. With that said, I'm going to leave it there for today, guys. Do let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Have you experienced frequent or any cheaters at all in BF5 on PC? And if so, how often, and how would you deal with it? What do DICE need to do to fix this problem? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one.